Okay, YouTube has afforded me a little bit more time, so let's go on and get to it. Welcome to a devlog. So, I really just want to talk about things that I've gotten done with the game. I'm probably only going to do these once every other week just because game development takes a very long time, and a lot of times it's just not enough to put into a video. But if you do want micro updates, definitely go over to Instagram and follow me over there at Desert Tsunami. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So, where are we as far as the game goes? So, just got done with Chapter 7. Got done with all the story stuff, all the side quest stuff. It came out really good. This is a dense chapter. It's easily the longest chapter in the game as well. It takes you through quite a lot of different places. I really enjoyed making this one, though it was a slog to get through it. But once it was done, it was done. It's also the chapter that I am most excited for people to play. It's, like I said, it's dense. It's got a lot of story in it, a lot of character development. It can get heavy at times, but there's times where there's some humor in there to break it all up, so you're not just emotionally exhausted going through this particular chapter. As far as the side quests go in it, once again, there's a side quest in this chapter that was planned for this chapter right from the very beginning, and it's a lot of fun. It's a slower side quest, but it's fun. It's cute. I think that's probably the best way to say it. It's a cute side quest, but I hope you guys enjoyed playing it as much as I enjoyed making it. Some other things with it. I was going to start the playtesting yesterday and then got into a map, and for some reason the performance tanked. It just absolutely hit the floor. I have no idea what happened. So I was up until 4 a.m. yesterday working on that. Finally found it. Went through the entire map, every single event, every single NPC, the weather effects, you name it, and I went through it. Finally found the problem, optimized that, and now it's actually running better than it was before. I don't know what took me so long to find this problem, because it ended up being the exact same problem I had in the map earlier in the game, which prompted me to create this whole new system of managing NPCs and loading things in. It's been implemented across the entire game, well, at least in the city of Pando, but yeah, just something went wrong in this particular map. But it's fixed now, it runs better, that's all we're asking for, right? I did add 2 new bosses into this chapter as well. Now, as far as bosses go in this game, you don't run into a ton of them. Like, from chapters 1 to 3-ish, maybe 2-ish, there's no bosses. You're not going to fight a boss at the end of every level or at the end of every chapter. They come when they are needed. When the story calls for them to be there, they are needed. So, there's not a ton of bosses between chapters 1 and 2. Then you fight 2 and 3. There's nothing between 4, 5, and 6, and then in 7 you fight 2 more. And then we'll get into chapter 8, where you'll have 8 different bosses that you have to fight. Chapter 8 is going to pick up quite a bit. It's going to start off a little slower, but when it picks up, it's going to be go time, basically. And chapter 9 is a callback to old school JRPGs. There's going to be a lot of puzzles you got to figure out to get through different areas. You have to fight some bosses. I think there's 4 in that chapter I've got planned. And then chapter 10 it's the shortest chapter. It shouldn't take as long, but it will be dense as far as the story goes and as far as character development goes as well. So chapter 10 is one of those chapters that I'm very excited for. It's also the end of the game, so that kind of marks the end of the core development as far as the game goes. And then it's all the refining, fine-tuning, rebalancing, all that stuff, which oddly enough takes months sometimes to get done. But you know, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel there. We're getting close. As far as getting close to the end, yeah, that's an important thing, isn't it? Because we got to do playtesting. And at that point, I'm going to be asking you guys to help me with playtesting. The more eyes that are on it, the better experience it is when it gets released. And there are going to be things I didn't think to do during my internal playtesting that I'm sure some of you will do. Like, think of it this way. Every single time we play a game, we see a body of water, and the first thing we ask ourselves is, can I get into the water? We'll answer that question for this game. You can't get into the water. But the point is, there's always going to be things that you will do that I didn't think of that could break the game. It may be unintended. You get into unintended areas, and I just would like to have some more eyes on the game. So when that time comes up, which I'm hoping will be mid-July, maybe late July, early August, I'm going to have some forums up on both YouTube and on my Instagram for people to go fill them out. I'm going to pick 5 of you, hopefully, and you'll be my playtesters, and of course you'll get credit for that. Keep in mind though, the playtest will be going through Steam, so you will need an active Steam account in order to gain access to the playtest. Yeah, you know what? I think that's pretty much part 1 of the devlog. So I'm going to take a break. You guys should also take a break. Go use a bathroom or, I don't know, make a sandwich. And while you're at it, you should also go to Steam and check out Vita Rift of a Nation. It's my first game out on Steam. So yeah, I'm going to go take a quick break, and I'll see you guys in a minute. Speaking of sandwich, a Philly cheese sounds really good right now. Okay, and back. Hopefully you guys had a bathroom break, found some food, or you went to Steam and checked out Vita Rift of a Nation. But right now we're back. So, on the second part of this devlog, I think it's important to talk about not necessarily games I'm playing, but games that may have inspired me. And we're not going to talk about the industry whatsoever during this. There's tons of YouTubers screaming from the rooftops about the industry's failing, or it's not that bad, or whatever. But the game I want to talk about is Clear Obscure Expedition 33. Once again, there's tons of YouTubers talking about it, but I'm not going to review the game. I will definitely say it is look, this game needs to win Game of the Year. You know, just hands down, it's a Game of the Year. But, you know, I'm on my second playthrough of this game, and I heard about this game probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago. It was not at the beginning of development of the Ember Oracle. I think I was already in development by the time I heard about this game, so it hasn't inspired me as far as gameplay or mechanics or anything like that. Most of that stuff had already been set and is working just fine. So there is no reason to for it to do that. But what it did inspire me to do is stick to my story. They had a vision for their game and they went with it. And they had no corporate overlords telling them what to do. They just, this was their game and this is what they were doing. And that's kind of how I feel about my game. It's, I'm sticking to my story. I like my story. So they definitely inspired me to do that. One thing I've really been into though in this game is the music. Like, God, the music is really, really good. Like, okay, let's put it this way. For some of you old school gamers or even some of you newer ones who play retro games, when you first booted up Final Fantasy VIII, which, by the way, one of the games that inspired Clair Obscura, and you heard Liberté Fatale, you kind of sat back and you thought, okay, this is how we're going to do this. Okay. Clair Obscura's music does the exact same thing. It's the vocals in it, and there's vocals in a good portion of that OST. They add something intangible to that game. And one of the... Sorry, my dog is... What are you doing? Stop. What is that? Stop. What is that? Okay, sorry. One of the songs in there, it's Un Via a Temir. It is the best boss fight ever created. Just ever. Having the two singers basically screaming at each other is just... It's the whole game. The entire story to the game is in that one song, and it's absolutely amazing. But like I said, this game needs to win Game of the Year. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure there's going to be another French Revolution, and at that point, I might just become French and join it because it's Game of the Year. It's Game of the Year. So, with that out of the way, let's start closing this video out, shall we? The YouTube schedule. I did mention that earlier, that we're going to do the devlogs every other week just because there's not always something to make a video about as far as the game development goes. So I'm looking at every other week we're going to do the devlog, and in those off weeks is when we're going to be doing Game and Climb, or I don't know, get outside and touch grass and climb. I have no idea. It's a working title, but it's going to be a lot looser, and we actually will be talking about things happening in the industry. And then on Sunday is when we're doing the RPG Maker MZ tutorial series. Now this series is going to take a very long time to finish, as we're doing 1 to 2 videos a day on it, depending on the topic that we're covering that week. So last week we had 2 videos. This week, hopefully it's only 1, but we'll see. If we have to do 2, we have to do 2, and that's all there is to it. But I had been thinking about throwing in a 3rd day, but I have no idea what to do with it. So if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments, and I will definitely get to them and consider pretty much anything that you guys suggest. As sticking with YouTube, right now I am a tiny channel, so I'd like to grow a little bit, and I'm gonna start small. So if you wouldn't mind helping liking, subscribing, and sharing this. And let's see if we can get it to like 50 subscribers by the end of June. I think that's a doable goal, right? That's fair. That's not insane. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, the whole gambit. And other things, I am going to be launching a Kickstarter very soon here in the next few days. So if you'd like to support me that way, there will be links in the YouTube and on my Instagram at Desert Tsunami. And you can go check it out there, see what's going on, and support me there if that's how you prefer to support me. That's pretty much it for this devlog. Yeah, I can't think of anything else, so I think we're pretty much done with that. So, with that said, I actually think I'm gonna go make a Philly cheesesteak because it just sounds really, really good. So, you guys have a good one. I'm gonna go eat. Till next time.